Once again, it's on. It is draft time. This is a fancy Endgame. We're doing some redraft leagues for real this time. If you've been with us all offseason, you know we've been mock drafting all offseason. Not kidding. Since February, every week, multiple times per week. And now it's draft season. So the last 2 weeks, have been doing our real drafts with our community. That is our amazing viewers here who have joined us. So, quick word in before we actually get this draft underway. You do have a chance to join us if you go to flockfantasy.com/endgame. And that's how these amazing viewers got into these leagues, because they got subscriptions. They joined the Discord. That's where you can get in on the mock drafts, or at least you could have back when it was mock draft time, and also in these leagues. So we're doing it for real this time, real leagues, and there's going to be some real trades made probably pretty soon, because these are active leagues, and that's the best part of it. Drafting a competitive league with people who know what they're doing, that's the only way to do it. All right, so what this is, just to break it down for those who are new watching, is we have a total of, not including Dynasty, right? Just redraft. We're doing 6 viewer leagues, and we have 2 of them where it's both Chris and I in it together. And then we have 2 where it's just me, including tonight, and then 2 where it's just Chris. So tomorrow night, he will be on here drafting just like I am. My goal for tonight's draft is very simple. Do not auto pick at all once, because the last 2 times, each of the times where I've gone live solo, I got away, talking and reading the comments and everything, and I had to panic pick, and I wound up with Jerry Judy in a best ball underdog league, and then Justin Ross, which okay, he made the roster, like it's a good sleeper, but I think it was Justin Ross in like round 9, not exactly where I wanted to take him, if at all. I don't know what was going on there, but my goal tonight, like I said, just only take players I really want where I want, but also I hope everyone else does the same, gets their guys. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're ready to start. I think almost everyone has been in the draft room at one point. With Sleeper, the little green dot tells you, and like these guys, I know JCR made a comment, and I saw Donnie on. Only one I'm not 100% sure about, but we're going to get rolling either way. So just do a quick all call, and then we'll get ready. Don't want to do any autos, of course. Auto picks can throw things off. You guys know this happened a week ago when we had Team 12. The notorious Team 12 couldn't show, showed up later after the fact and apologized, couldn't make it. But Team 12 and the sleeper Auto Logic decided that team really needed 11 running backs in a row, and multiple quarterbacks as well. So that can throw things off for everybody else. So don't want to do that. Hopefully we get it going here and have no autos. So I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes, and then we'll get started. Just want to make sure we're all good to go. We're going to start off in style. Andrea is number 1. She got that 1 pick. Keith not loving the number 5 slot, and I get it. That's not ideal. I'm stuck in the middle with him. I'm at the 7, dead in the middle, which is pretty much, I think it's a toss-up. It's between the 7 and the 8, which is my least favorite draft slot this year. It's pretty close. I don't know. I mean, I'll still get a good player, obviously. It's just, like last night's league, Chris was at 11, I was at 12. We were both at the end, right there at the very end. It's just random. This is all random order, by the way. It's just random. So I pretty much, by the time he got to my pick, my back-to-back picks, I knew who I was going to be able to get for the most part. And I already knew who Chris would want before me, right? I know he's going to snipe me on. So it wasn't even a snipe, because for the most part, if there was a guy I knew I wanted that he liked, I knew he was going to take him, and he did. When you're stuck here at like 7, it's like you just don't know what's going to happen. If you're going to be in the middle of a run, if you're going to pick right before a run starts, it's just hard. It's just hard to gauge, but let's see what happens with that. I think I mocked enough. I should be ready for anything, right? That's why I always recommend pick from as many different spots as you can. All right, and they're all going to be random, these leagues. So I didn't get to pick. That's okay. All right, and then I do want to try to get to some of the comments and questions. We'll be here also to answer questions and pay attention to the draft. Again, that's the goal here. All right, and good. I think we're ready to start because I see the only team I was gonna not 100% sure about. It looks like he is on. So, y'all ready to start? Yeah. Yeah, I think we're ready to start. I'm gonna start anyways. Yes, I think we're good. All right, here we go. Oh, and there's another thing. I'm gonna do what I did last week also, and at one point I don't remember where it was in the middle of the draft. At some point, start adding players to my queue, forgetting that everyone who is online live can see my queue. Um, that wasn't a good move, but you know what? Live and learn. Greg, that's a tough question. A good question. I don't want to answer that yet because I don't want to sway anybody, especially this is a real draft, not a mock. One thing, it's kind of end game policy during our draft, even if they are mocks, we try not to talk too much about a player like before they've been picked because it always happens. It's kind of that subconscious thing, like when people hear you talk about it and then all of a sudden they feel like they need to take him. So I don't want to sway anything either way. All right. We're underway. Jefferson, Chase Hill, no surprises there. Other John going with CMC. That's pretty much where he goes. Cup. And then it's almost my turn. John. All right. My hopes and dreams have been dashed. No, I'm just kidding. I have a feeling that might happen. So what I've been doing pretty much every time I'm in this spot and those players are off the board is I'm going CD Lamb. I'm not going to change. Going CD Lamb. There it is. Now, in a regular, I say regular, in a typical league, if you're in a public league or a home league or a league with people who aren't maybe just as into it, um, you're going to see running backs go off the board earlier. Like Eckler might have already been gone at that point, or somebody might take it at that point, and there's Eckler right there. See that prompting thing? It just worked. But I know with this crowd, I know all of our league members here, they know they're not going to be, running backs flying off the board just in the first two rounds, right? It's going to be pretty balanced. The elite receivers are going to go early. In fact, there you go. This is, some people say only in an endgame league. No, not only, but yeah, Garrett Wilson is not universally a first round pick. And there he is at the 8. Anthony going bold. I love that. I'm all in on Garrett Wilson this year, no doubt. We do have Barkley there. So now 4 running backs taken in the first round so far. Don't know if anybody else. I mean, we don't know what these last 2 picks are going to be. I don't think there's anybody else that's honestly first round worthy, especially with JT and that situation. So there goes Diggs. All right. Yeah, we're good. AJB, and I'm on the round. That's exactly what I did last night at that turn right there. I love that duo, by the way. You get it. AJ Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're pretty good. You're pretty set at receiver because you have that huge weekly floor with the Sun God and you have that huge weekly ceiling with AJB. It's the best of both worlds, basically. There's another problem. I don't know if it's a problem. It's a problem. You draft the same player. Like you just have to mix it up sometimes. If you're in multiple leagues, and I counted today because I'm on Sleeper platform and looking, and almost all my leagues this year are on Sleeper, intentionally so. And I think I'm at 12, only 12 leagues right now on Sleeper, and then a couple elsewhere. So yeah, I'm looking at my rosters, I'm setting my lineups just initially before next week, and then you start to see the same player, like, man, maybe have too much of that guy. Maybe what if something happens? But not every roster is the same. But you don't want 100% exposure to the same guy because you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Even if you think that guy's going to smash, because it might not happen. And injuries happen. So yeah, I try to mix it up too. I get that. Michael says forget that. He purposely going with the same player. Yeah, he's definitely look. Props to Michael. He believes in himself. He believes in his picks. No doubts. All right, on the clock. There goes Devontae Smith. I like that pick, and Anthony. I love that duo. All right, so let's see. And Kelsey, a second round pick. That's something you usually don't see. Just notice that. So like, this is exactly what I was talking about. I have a guy I would almost automatically go to here, but I have a lot of them. You probably know who it is, who I'm talking about. Maybe I switch it up. Maybe I go with a running back. This is a 2 running back, 3 receiver league. It's full PPR. There's one flex. Switch it up. Go with the safe pick. Go for the home run. Don't time out. All right, I'm just gonna do it. I would not normally take Tony Pollard in the second round that early. You know who I would normally take there as a receiver, but I'm going to switch it up. Pollard could have a huge season. Obviously, I'm going all in on the Cowboys offense. Waddle was the guy, obviously. Waddle is too obvious for me, right? It wasn't that too obvious of a pick. Lamb and Waddle would be great, but I'm going to mix it up. And I really, now, and thinking about it, honestly, I think in redraft, I think that might be my first share of Pollard because he usually goes earlier than where I pick because second round, almost always I'm going receiver. Like any of these receivers. I have a lot of Olave, I have Devontae Smith a little bit. I have, of course, a lot of Waddle. Sun got it when he falls to me. I just didn't, I haven't gotten Pollard. And so I wanted at least one league where I can get him. And so people ask, well, talk about, you take this off the screen. Doubling up on an offense. And, one situation I had last week is I had the 2 pick and I took Chase. And then coming back, I was like, do I really want to go with Higgins and Chase and have both my top receivers just tied to the same quarterback? It's not a bad thing if you have an elite offense, elite receivers with a great quarterback, but, I mixed it up. And I was fine with it because I took Ramondre. I believe in Ramondre. Got my anchor at running back. So it's kind of what I'm doing here. But the difference is now I'm tying both my top receiver and running back to the same offense. But I think that's okay because you're not just dependent on the passing offense, right? The game script, depending on how it goes, can benefit either one, hopefully both. Now, if the Cowboys suck this year, yeah, my team is probably going to tank. But I obviously don't think that. This is why I'm taking those guys. That's funny. All right, let's see what we got here. So we have Ridley at the 2.8, and that was another thing. I was scared to take Ridley in the second round. Maybe I should have, but I don't regret it that much. Devontae got Chubb and Henry, Higgins, Mark Andrews, and then there's Mahomes. First quarterback off the board. Jahmyr Gibbs. All right, Michael Good and his guys. All right, yeah. So he has been picked. Better than Keenan. I mean, look, Keenan has been a stud, and especially in his prime, one of the better receivers. He's not in his prime necessarily, but I just talked about him. If you saw one of our latest must-have receivers, as far as picks that I'm gonna take. A guy I think is gonna have a huge year, and a guy that I actually, spoiler alert, really like a lot in week one, specifically Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen is really solid, but Ridley, you have to admit, he's got the higher ceiling. I mean, both are tied to elite quarterbacks, so that doesn't matter. All right, hold that thought. Oh man, killing me, DJ Moore off the board. Now, I'm not blindly saying I'm not taking a running back, and I'm not just purposely avoiding Ramondre because I already have him too much. But at this point, I got my running back. I'm rarely going to go with another running back unless the value is there, and I don't think it is. I'm definitely not taking a tight end. So actually, I'm prompting myself here now. Looking at the receivers on the board, I'm fading DK this early. I have a lot of Debo, and I haven't been saying that he's my guy this year, and I love him, but he keeps falling to me farther than he should. So I have a lot of Debo. So I'm gonna take Keenan Allen. There you go. And I really haven't been taking Keenan Allen as much as I should have this year. Um, yeah, no key. All right, so the question there is Ridley versus Keenan Allen. I mean, Ridley, I think has a slightly higher ceiling because of the type of receiver he is. I know Keenan isn't just going to be stuck in the slot this year, which I mentioned is why I like him. But Ridley is just going to be more of a vertical threat. I think even though Christian Kirk is really good and going to get a lot of targets and all that, I do still think that Ridley has a little bit more upside in terms of target share and target volume than Keenan because they got Mike Williams there also, but then they also drafted Quentin Johnson, and Austin Eckler gets so many catches. So I think Ridley has a little bit more upside. Keenan feels like the safer pick, right? Keenan has a ton of upside too. Let's not, pretend that we're going to put him out to pasture or something like that. This new offense, especially new OC, we should be excited. And I talk a lot about this in the recent videos, so I don't want to just repeat it, but I don't think it's that big a difference. People are more excited about Ridley and people aren't that excited about Keenan Allen, but production wise, if they're both healthy, I don't think it's going to be that big a difference. But who are you going to be able to get? Well, Ridley is now officially a second rounder. Maybe in your public leagues or whatever, he's going to the third round. I don't really know. And Keenan is typically going to be a little bit lower. So, look, if you can get like what I basically just did, is instead of Ridley in mid round 2 and get Keenan mid round 3, I'm taking that. That's what I'm doing. Well, like 1 QB leagues aren't that boring, Mike. I do like super flex. Usually in our dynasty leagues. In fact, I think all our dynasty leagues are super flex. And redraft is just not as common. Um, you know, I, I'm a fan of super flex. No, I don't think it's for beginners. Um, more advanced you get into fantasy, yeah, you do those things. You do twists like the super flex or the tight end premium or different scoring systems. I've done it all. I just like the variety. I like them all. So I did not hear this. Anybody hear this about the Cowboys getting James Conner? I don't I don't see that happening. I mean, look, I actually talked last night about Hollywood Brown. Like, it makes sense to trade him because he's in the last year of his contract. This team is obviously tanking. Why not trade him? But, at the same time, then, Chris's response there is, well, they could just keep him and pair him with whatever new quarterback they get if they do, if things go sour with Kyler, or to give Kyler another weapon and whatever receiver they draft if they get a Marvin Harrison Jr. or something like that. They don't need to just get rid of all their good players. All right. Let's see. Etienne, both the Seahawks. Oh, Mike's hating that. Lockett is off the board. Watson off the board. Debo is gone. Yeah, I mean, if you missed last night, yeah, I'm not even entertaining the idea of possibly taking Jonathan Taylor. I'm just not. So It's round 4. You know, is Clayton in this league? He's not. Uh, he won't be around anyways if we wait. All right, Ayuk it is. I like both Ayuk and Debo at the right value. At the right. Let me clarify that. Depending on where they go, when they go, at the right value. So that's the key. One sec. All right, so let's speak of Ayuk and Lamb, two guys I have on my team now. Kevin wants to know: would you trade Ayuk and James Cook for Lamb? 2 for 1. I'm not opposed to a 2 for 1 deal, even if I'm in the 2 side. We had this debate last night. Not really a debate, but Chris generally saying that look, if you're getting the 2 instead of the 1 is usually a superstar player, a really superior player, which is why that deal is being offered. In this case, it looks like you're getting that player. I like James Cook this year, and I like Ayuk this year, obviously, because I just took him. But I'm taking Lamb. Yeah, I would rather have Lamb in that case because I think James Cook is a solid RB2, especially if you wait. But I don't think he has league winning potential. I mean, he doesn't, and neither does Ayuk. Lamb could be one of the, and I mean like top 5, be top 3, who knows, elite wide receivers this year. So I'd rather have Lamb. But that said, if you got a team that needs running back help, which they shouldn't already, but that's not a bad deal. It's not lopsided, but yeah, I'd rather have Lamb. Okay, what about this? Another trade question. Space Ghost, coast to coast. What's the better trade? Najee Dobbins, Christian Watson for Pollard, DJ Moore, okay, or Dobbins or Najee and Christian Watson for AJ Brown. Okay, let me calculate all this. So I would like to have Pollard and DJ Moore if that's what you're getting. If you're giving up those 3 to get those 2, I mean, you're giving up 2 starting running backs, right? High end RB2, maybe low end RB1 type guys. Man, that is tough. All right, I'm gonna have to chew on that while I make this pick. All right, there goes Najee, by the way. There goes Marcus. See, I'm telling you that priming it happens, right? You hear the name. Now, Keith knows what he's doing. He's not drafting. He doesn't care what I say. He knows who he's picking. Quarterbacks here are interesting, but not as interesting now that Justin Fields is. If Fields was there, I'm smashing no matter what. Running back, no thanks. Receiver. I have so much. Also, I have so much Herbert. Let's see. Oh, here we go. That's going to happen. Nope. I don't love Michael Pittman this year. In fact, he's a guy I've been fading, but I definitely am not taking Judy or Mike Evans, and I definitely don't want to take JSN here. Michael Thomas, why is he up here? Why is he this high on the rankings? If we're ready to Brandon Cooks, Kadarius Toney, Zay Flowers level, look, I like Cooks and Flowers, but in round 6? Man, this tells me wide receiver is getting thin, and this is why I'm taking a Michael Pittman, who I don't love this year, but that's why I'm taking him here. That's just he was the best value, and man, if I don't take a receiver there, I'm going to hate my flex. Know your league. I think I could still get a decent running back on the way here. Let's see if that happens. All right, or Dobbins or Najee and Christian Watson for AJ Brown. Okay. I think, look, I would love to have the Pollard DJ Moore combo. I worry you might be giving up a little too much if you're getting up those 3 players. I think the Najee Watson for AJB is the better deal. So what I would try to do is negotiate down a little bit. Maybe you could do it. Depends, obviously, what your other league mate here thinks of those players you're offering. If you can do Najee and then maybe a lower RB, not instead of Dobbins, maybe like a Pacheco or Rashad White type, if you have a running back that's like a little step down, not a huge step down. I'm not talking Devin Singletary, that kind of guy, like a backup, but or maybe an exciting rookie that he likes. What kind of a fan is he? What team? What's his team? So maybe try Najee, RB3 type, and Watson for Pollard more and see if he goes for that. If not, if he doesn't like any of the running backs on your team, I would then go for the Najee Watson for AJB. I think that's still a fair deal. You get an elite wideout. Obviously you're offering these running backs. You must not need all those running backs. I'm hoping. And then, oh, sorry, I'm gonna get back to this. Sorry, Matthew. I didn't see or hear anything about James Conner going to Cowboys. I think if that happens, it would be a nightmare for both everyone who's got Pollard, second round Pollard, like I just did, and everyone who's expecting this monster breakout season from Pollard is going to be probably more crushed than JT owners right now. If it hasn't happened yet, I don't see why it would happen now. I don't think there's any way it's going to happen a week before the season that they're going to just grab a new co RB1 or whatever you want to call him. I mean, if the Cowboys were going to address running back depth, they would have already done it, And they cut Malik Davis. Not that he's special necessarily, but they're not worried about their RB depth. So I don't see that happening. But I hadn't even heard that rumor. More running back talk. Let's see. The Carpetron, Duke Marriott. All right. My RBs are Etienne, Gibbs, Cook, and McKinnon. You got good upside. I mean, I like Cook as an RB3. That's nice. Gibbs, we'll see what he does. I think he's, solid, a high end RB2. Etienne. The problem, I mean, you don't have a clear cut to me lead RB1. I don't feel Etienne or Gibbs is necessarily top 10 PPR fantasy scorer at running back. They're like right there in the edge. So you had two high-end RB2s, which is fine because I don't know who your receivers and your quarterback and all that is. So your team might still be really good. But I think you're solid. You have a really solid running back core. McKinnon, hang on to him if there's nobody else better on waivers. If there is like a Deion Jackson or somebody or Sean Johnson just floating on waivers, I'd rather pick them up than McKinnon. So maybe add the depth there a little bit. Hey, I have DJ Moore as a third round pick firmly. I'm all in on him this year. He's also one of my guys. All right, who else is a guy? Okay, so bad news is two of the running backs I like got taken right after I didn't take them, which I'm not surprised. Good news is two running backs I don't like just got taken, so I don't have to pick them. Not that I was going to anyways. Let's see. Zay Flowers also got taken. Don't like that. Oh, there you go. This is just became a really easy pick because I see J.K. Dobbins there. Royland, am I fading McLaurin at all? A little. I am a little bit. I don't know that this is going to be a multi-week injury necessarily yet, but we know that the toe can be very tricky. It sounds like a minor thing. When we hear knee, we freak out, right? Ankles are always bothersome. And your toe, you're like, oh, okay, you should get over that. That can be really painful also, but also can linger. Turf toe doesn't even sound like a real injury, but it is. And it can bother players for a long time. So even if he's out there, it can affect performance. So I am fading him a little bit now. And again, just barely increasing, where I'm ranking Jahan Dotson. I don't think it makes him all of a sudden like the new receiver that you have to have in Washington. I think he was going to be good anyways. Like the other day, we saw him go in round 4. I'm not there. I don't think it's a 4th round pick, but I think he's going to be solid anyways. So a little bit. Well, we got to get more clarity on the McLaurin thing. All right, JP got the 1.1, 12-man half PPR, CMC or Jefferson first. To me, it's a no-brainer. You take Jefferson. Just do it. Take Jefferson. And then you say, my plan is go wide receiver. Yeah. And you don't have to plan that out. Look, if you can get Olave, Ridley at the back end there, the 212, that's even more no-brainer to me. Ridley, Smith, Olave, Ridley. Yeah. That's dream start for me if you can do that. So I like your plan. Be ready to pivot because what if those guys are all taken? Ridley, look, in our leagues, Ridley's going this mid-second round now. Olave has always been going the second round for us. I mean, I know in some leagues he isn't, but he might be gone. Devontae Smith. You might have to go for a T. Higgins, Amari Cooper type. I know people feel it's too early for DJ Moore, which it might be. I mean, look, if all those wide receivers are gone, then there should be a really good running back that falls in your lap. So don't just completely ignore that possibility. Of course, depends who you like at running back. Half PPR, a guy like Henry or Chubb does become pretty appealing right there. So, but if you can go any of those starts, yeah, I'm for it. It says it's on Yahoo. Okay. Yeah, I know you can get good running back value late, but also consider if you go receiver, you might be talking about guys like Kenneth Walker as your RB1, which is not a problem. But again, just consider the way the draft goes. Yeah, I did consider going Herbert, but I have way too much Herbert. And I'm going QB early in a lot of my leagues. I'm okay. I'm okay waiting. All right, let's see. Dan Indigo. Keep Nick Chubb or Jalen Hurts in a one keeper. I'm guessing you meant league. Autocorrect can be a pain sometimes and very confusing. If it doesn't matter where, like what round, like value, if you just like pick one to keep, honestly, I think I might keep Chubb. The other side of our show here might disagree with me, but to me, that stud running back is harder to replace. All right, so you know what? I'm actually shocked this happened because I did consider going Herbert this last round, and I was like, nah, I can wait. I really need running back. Herbert's still there. Herbert hardly ever falls this late. Like, why is he still there in the 7th round? In fact, quarterback's going way later in this draft. And so I would even be happy if Lawrence was still here, but Keenan Allen, Herbert, I have to do it. And I'm trying to be different, but forget being different. I'm going for the best value. And you know what? Maybe Lawrence outscores Herbert. It's going to be really close between those two, but there it is. And there goes Lawrence. I'm just surprised. You never know where quarterbacks where they go. We have had some leagues where the top 8 guys are all gone by the end of round 4. And then here we go in this league. So all right, let's see. More trade questions. Kyle. Trade Lamar, Hall, and Cooper for Eckler, DK, and Deshaun Watson. This is not a minor deal here. This is like a league changer. You're trading half your roster. It's a 10-team league. Love Lamar this year. Don't like Hall this year. Love Cooper this year. Eckler, elite, DK, and Watson. Okay. So you're going from Lamar to Watson, minor downgrade to me, but that's a massive upgrade at running back. Yeah. If your RBs are weak, you're getting Eckler. I would do that. I would take the Eckler DK Watson side because I think Watson will be totally fine this year. He'll be really solid. Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing that. Because again, even though I've been saying like DK, I'm not drafting him much, and I'm fading where he's going, but I'm not fading him overall. I think he'll be solid. He should still put up about 1,000 yard season. Um, so not a huge difference between him and Amari Cooper. I think there's going to be a huge difference between Eckler and Brees Hall this year. Next year, it might be flipped. Yeah, what's up with that? Not only you missing out on your Lockett, but then we have Ronnie's going with Lockett and Kenny Walker, and then Notorious going with Metcalf and JSN. So it's like you're not the Seahawks fan in here. I mean, it's not too late to draft Noah Fant. All right, what's up, NMB? Would you trade Godwin for Pierce or Deontay or Kirk for Swift? You need an RB. I'm gonna guess you drafted a running back who was just recently put on pup. I could be wrong. All right. So would I trade Godwin for Pierce? Yeah, I would do that to get Pierce. Or Deontay or Kirk for Swift. No, I'd rather do the Godwin for Pierce thing. Because I'm a little higher on Pierce than Swift, even though I love drafting Swift, but I still think Pierce is definitely a more solid pick here. Swift riskier, and I'm not as high on Godwin. Love Godwin, just don't have any faith. No, that's too strong. Desire to have anybody remotely attached to Baker Mayfield. So yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Pollard. Let's see. All right, let me try to catch up here a little bit because I know I'm a little behind on the comments. Haven't autoed yet, so I'm pretty proud, but there's still half a draft to go. Yeah, I know. I already explained that. That was just like, hey, the value's there. I know the receivers after that are going to be questionable. Maybe I should have just gone with my guy and taken Zay Flowers. I thought Zay Flowers might be available on the way back. Yes. All right, here we go. So I got my quarterback value, got 2 running backs, got 4 receivers. Pretty happy so far. No tight end I feel compelled to draft. Definitely not going to take one of these guys. And wide receiver it just dries up so fast in these leagues. So I could go with a guy that I drafted last night, or I could go with a guy that I said might be a league winner, because I don't think he's going to come back to me. Or I could seriously tilt Keith and take his guy. No. B-Rob it is. I'm gonna have way too much Brian Robinson this year. So he's not like my favorite out of all the players for this fantasy season, but he's gonna be my like sink or swim guy. He's either gonna lead me to the top or he's gonna drag me down. But not really, because look, he's never gonna be your starting RB or RB2. He's always like a third running back. So actually, I shouldn't even say that. Yeah, and I can't believe, my boy, I would have taken him if I could have got him where I wanted. But yeah, I do have Dobbins a little bit higher than Akers. Well, I don't know. Let me see. Hey, Sarp Erden. Remember, long time viewer last season on live shows. So I don't think I'd seen you recently. So let's see. What do I do about Brees Hall? Well, I have CMC and then Brees Hall is my only other RB. That's going to be a problem. Why do you only have two running backs? That's not a good thing. Look, I don't know the rest of your roster and all the settings and all that, but you're gonna need like even no matter who your second running back is, you should probably have more than two running backs if you have to start two running backs. Um, I don't know who's available. If there's anybody on waivers you could pick up, so you're gonna have to follow up with some more details there, like who could you pick up, or if not, we're gonna have to swing some trades here. Yeah. I agree with this. Dobbins, well, I don't know how much he's going to do as far as catching passes. I do think Robinson is going to catch some passes. Like Gibson's not going to get them all. Gibson's going to get them most. I understand that. He's basically a receiver who they switched to running back. He's going to play some receiver this year too. In fact, at least he thinks he is. Dobbins will catch a few passes, but it's not going to be enough to even boost his value. His value, where I think it comes in, is not only he gets those long runs, breakaways, where this year he'll actually be able to break away instead of slowing down because his knees hurting, but I think he's going to be a monster near the goal line. And I know you don't count on touchdowns; you can't project touchdowns reliably. Blah blah blah. He's going to be in a position to score at least double-digit touchdowns. I think upside for 15 plus. Again, that's just my like bullish prediction, but yeah, I think Dobbins is going to be a stud. Good question. Um, am I interested in a rookie tight end? Almost universally, no, in a redraft league because other than like Kyle Pitts, who we already knew based on his draft stock and everything we heard about him was a generational talent, and still somehow disappointed people, even though he got 1,000 yards as a rookie, but still, he didn't break fantasy at the age of 21. Imagine that. Rookie tight ends just don't produce. Evan Engram a few years ago had a really good rookie season. A lot of that came in the second half. Um, but it's just so hard. So am I going to start one redraft? No, I'm not drafting Dalton Kincaid or Laporte or anybody as my starter in a redraft league. I'm not. And there goes a tight end who I love because I just finished filming a video where I talk about along with Brian Robinson. Um, but I think he's fine. That Dalvin Cook was the smart pick there, but I did say I'm not drafting Dalvin Cook at all this year. So I think I have to stick to my guns. And yeah, I don't expect a huge Cook. Well, here's the problem with Dalvin Cook. Like I think he'll be good. And I think in the first half of the season, you're gonna be happy you had him, especially if he's your RB3. Um, shoot, Anthony, you got him as your fourth running back, which is good because Mixon's your third running back. But still, the problem I worry with Dalvin Cook is come playoff time. Are we going to see more Brees Hall? Are we going to see just a strict timeshare? Is Dalvin Cook going to be worn down? He's going to be injured by then because even in the Vikings last couple of seasons, he's been a big disappointment in the playoffs because the shoulder bothered him. He just put up a dud, So he's a guy who does seem to wear down as the season goes on. And now this is a team that's looking to make a playoff run, right? Going all in with Dalvin Cook and Aaron Rodgers. Um, I worry that we're going to see less of him at the end of the season. Um, so that's what makes me hesitate with Dalvin Cook. Now, what you could do is you think Dalvin Cook's going to get off to a hot start is you draft him as your third, fourth running back. And then if he puts up a couple of big games, then maybe you trade him, right? Sell high. But then you're just counting on the fact that he's going to have a really hard start to the season. All right, Sarp. Look, if you can tell me who you got out there at running back, I'll help you out. Tell you who you could pick up or what. But yeah. All right. Well, there you go. He's my trade bait or injury guy, buy guy. Yeah, for where you got him, that's great. I mean, that was a smart pick. I mean, we see some people, not in our leagues, but there's some leagues he's going to go in like round 5 or 6, like something ridiculous. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. They don't want to hear the truth, right? Here's some good advice. And this is a great question. Roland, you always have really good questions. Which offenses are you streaming against all year? Well, here's an obvious one, Arizona. I mean, starting a rookie 5th round quarterback. Um, and then even when Kyler Murray comes back, I don't expect Kyler Murray to, stop turning the ball over and taking sacks. He's always done that. So Arizona is the clear one there. Um, I think we have no, I don't think we have to wait. Tampa Bay, I mean Baker Mayfield, obviously, and if he gives away to Kyle Trask, I think Tampa you can clearly stream against. As far as like the rookie quarterbacks, I do think you're fine streaming against Indianapolis, especially now, because Anthony Richardson is not known for his accuracy. He'll make some bad plays and he'll turn the ball over. I don't think he puts up huge points against teams. Now with the running game, obviously that it could just turn into a huge dumpster fire. Those are the 3 most obvious ones. Let's see here. George Watson. Hold on. Oh, I didn't even mean to do that. Wide receiver still thin. Look, Errol. Actually, no. Trying to bait me into drafting a Chiefs receiver. Not gonna happen. What is my team again? Let's see. Man, I'm already down to 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 3. Yeah, man, I do actually need a receiver, but all right. RB1 for the Finns. I still like a Shane, but Mostert's going to have a role. Yeah, if Kyler Murray comes back, exactly. That's exactly right. If who knows? Tris, not ignoring you, just trying to get to all the questions as much as possible. I know you're always in the Discord too, so let's see. Hope I didn't miss anything, any trade questions or anything like that. Rise, what's up, Rise? In yeah, I know. I was I was kind of pinching myself. I couldn't be sure if he was still going to be there. I didn't expect it. I was going to go wait, and who was going to take a quarterback late, but when the value's there, I always say this. That's why I got Ramondre so much. If they're going to keep falling, you're going to get that same player. I'm not against taking the same player to multiple teams because if you believe in a guy, you believe in a guy, right, Mike? But I don't think you can ignore a guy just because you have him on another team. I like to differentiate when I can, when it's smart. But yeah, that was insane value to me. And same thing was the only reason I got Pittman. Just to clarify, I'm not on him this year, but I thought for where he was based on the receivers left, I thought that was the best pick. I was really hoping Zay Flowers would make it back to me. But again, I have 0 Pittman in any other league, and I have a lot of Zay Flowers in other leagues. So that kind of played into it. Yeah, let's talk about JT. 8th round. That's not. That's not too surprising. I mean, we have no idea what's going to happen. This could be, Le'Veon Bell situation. He could be on another team before October. He could miss half the season, then come back halfway. We have no idea what's going to happen, but you're missing games. I mean, look, the NFL season is not that long, right? It's you're talking about a fourth of the season almost that he's guaranteed to miss now, being on pup. So that's significant. Now, of course, the second half, the end of the season matters more than the beginning of the season. But still, when you have no idea what team he's going to be on and what situation is, you're taking on a lot of risk. Now, eighth round, I admit that's good value, but I did say also I'm not touching him. I don't want a headache. I don't have to stash him, worry about it. No, I don't care. I don't want it. We got three more rounds. We're now in a serious receiver run. Dobbs is a guy that I might have taken previously. I have a lot of Dobbs also, and I resisted Kadarius Toney. Let's see who I can't resist here. I can resist Zeke for sure. I can definitely pass on some of these guys. Don't love any of these guys. I've been talking a lot about him. I think I only have him in like maybe one or two leagues. I don't, he's not going to break out or anything, but I think he's pretty solid here. I'm going to go Van Jefferson. It's not I don't know, that's not like the most, um, biggest endorsement there. Like, I think he'll be okay here, but, you know, I do need a guy that's going to give me something for sure at this point. And then I'll go more flyer level after this. You know what? We do need to get Matt Harmon back on him. Was great. I mean, if you didn't see it, it's still valuable, even though we talked with him back in April. It was before the NFL draft, right before the NFL draft, like 2 days before, and he came on with us, which was awesome. Talking about the rookie receiver class. Everything he had to say still holds, a lot of value because we haven't seen these guys play, not in real action. It's his valuation of how they are going to possibly, transfer their skills from the college game to the pro game. I mean, it's so much good stuff. And we got to ask our very specific questions about players and all, that we were interested in, Hyatt being one of them. So it was great. Would love to have him back on again to talk about not just rookies, but, how some guys are looking for the season. So look, if we can get him on and maybe have him before the season. He said he would. We just have to. We've just been so busy, honestly. I haven't thought about it until you just reminded me. But yeah, we need to do that. I mean, that would be great. So, all right. Yeah. Well, that's how you know if you're in good company here. If some other smart people like a guy, then that's a good sign. Yeah, Chris is a fan of Van Jefferson too. I like the situation more so than that he's, so talented that he's due. I mean, a lot of people really liked him coming out of college. I thought he could be fine, but he just never really stepped up. And then he's had some injuries, and of course the Rams just bit last year. So I think this is kind of make or break for him. Honestly, he's the number two guy. He has no actual competition. I know everyone likes Puka. Puka's a different type of receiver than him, right? And of course, being a rookie. So Van Jefferson has every chance to step up this year. And if he doesn't, then I'll just ignore him the rest of his career in fantasy. So that's true. The trick is finding who it is, right? Trying to find those guys, these late round guys. Somebody here is going to break out. One of these guys. You just got to pick your guy and go with it because it's usually a guy we don't expect. If you can find that guy, that's a huge help. The guy, honestly, the ones who are like after round 10, they're not necessarily going to be that league winner that they're going to be like one of the top overall fantasy scorers. That's rare that it happens. Like an Arian Foster just shows up out of nowhere and becomes the best running back in the NFL. That doesn't usually happen, but it could definitely help. Let's see. This is.
Come on.
Now, I just want to clarify before I put this question up. Computer Kid asking AR Deshaun. To me, definitely Deshaun, but 6-man league. So I have questions. How does one play in a 6-man league? Like, what are the playoffs? The playoffs like, hey, you're in the league, you made the playoffs. Um, or and then why play in a 6-man league? Okay, and then if you're in a 6-man league, you really don't need either of those guys. You should have a better quarterback than AR Deshaun Watson, unless everyone's drafting 2 quarterbacks and you just waited. Um, this this confuse. If you really meant 6-man league, I mean, we have leagues like you could join. We have on the Discord a channel, startups and orphans. If you want to join a league, in fact, Roberto posted one just yesterday. Uh, there are leagues you could join that are not just 6-man with some very sharp people here. So. What else plus the other guys? All right, so it sounds like it was a bigger league and you just booted some people. Look, get some new guys in there. You can post your league if you want some more people. At least make it an 8-man league. Post your link, and if you want some people from Endgame in there, I know we could probably find a couple of guys who want to join. All right, this is a good point. He hate me. I like the old XFL throwback reference. Jamal Williams was a end of draft pick, maybe not even drafted last year. Now, did he win your league? He helped. I mean, he scored a lot of touchdowns, that's for sure. I don't know that he carried teams throughout the fantasy playoffs. You know what I mean? So borderline, if we call him league winner, I don't know exactly. I'd have to look up like exactly where did he rank in terms of fantasy. Now, as far as where you drafted him to have guys score that much, yeah, he helped you big time. Look, there you go. And Tris always, oh crap, I'm about to time out. Yes, I was gonna do it. Yeah, always way too long. Running back. It makes me sad that now my Zamir White shares are looking kind of worthless. I mean, I'm not completely giving up on him, but I'm also not drafting him anymore. Okay, I can go receiver here. I thought Gallup, and then I just realized I have these Cowboys, including Lamb already. What the heck? Let's go Pierce. I usually would take DJ Chark there, but making a little different here. Okay. Yeah, so sorry. So if you go to that channel I mentioned, there's leagues there. Just check it out. Yeah, always some people looking for good quality owners for fantasy and vice versa. So yeah, you get a lot of good. Of course, everyone has amazing players if it's a 16 league. That's what makes it. I mean, I guess it's fun. You still get to follow your players, right, and get the better chance you get players you like. That's for sure. But yeah, it takes some of the challenge out of it, right? You don't even need to play waivers, do you? Like, what's the point of going to the waiver wire? All right, let's get to this. Gavin, a good trade question. Trade Judy for Drake London. Uh, if you can get Drake London for Judy right now, then I want you to stop what you're doing. Well, don't close this window. Keep it open, but open a new tab, go to that league and make that offer. Or if you have that offer, then accept it right now. That is a no-brainer. I would take Drake London over Judy in a heartbeat before Judy was injured. So if the London owner wants to do that, shake his hand, buy him a beer and say thanks for the deal. Or a seltzer. Not everybody likes brews. I'm not a seltzer guy though. I just don't like the taste of it. All right. I guess we're at the end of the draft because now we got the non-football talk coming up. I'll answer this because Nate knows how to hook me. If I could go back in time and see any band or musician live in their prime. Now, do you mean back in time like in my time, or can I go back in time like before I was alive? That's the question. So I need to clarify there. I need some details. Oh, are you kidding? He sent that to you? What? So he once injured Jerry Judy in exchange for Drake London. Okay. That okay. All right. I had there are no words. Oh, and here we go. On the clock again. Not gonna do it. Haven't done it yet. You know what? I don't. Uh, no. Okay. Yeah. Just ignore my external dialogue here. All right. I like Jerome Ford. He's back. Been on him. So there must have been. I'm trying to see who already got taken. I was looking for a guy. I guess he already got taken. And I did wait too long on Tank. Very sad. Didn't get Tank Bigsby. All right. Anytime. All right. So let's go back to that question because we're about to get to the last round. So if I could see any band musician live in their prime, it would be Jimi Hendrix. Easy. Jimi Hendrix, any of his shows, like what the one at Monterey. I don't know if I would want to go to like Woodstock or one of those concerts, but yeah, it's Jimmy. Definitely Jimmy. Backup pick number 2 would be trying to think. And so, I mean, there's a ton of musicians and bands I like, but live is different thing, right? Some are better live than others. I would have liked to go. I mean, this is cheating because I'm just not just saying like one band, but like like in the late 80s, mid 80s, like a Fresh Fest or one of those where I could see like Run DMC and like LL Cool J and the Fat Boys like all together. Cause that's mainly what I listen to, like all that old school music I listened to growing up. So if I could see that, like when it was just coming up and when a lot of people didn't know about hip hop or didn't care, that would be amazing. Ooh, Bob Marley, that's a good one too. Bob Marley would be a good one. Amazing. That would be amazing live. Um, yeah, I like Jerry Judy's not necessarily bad real life, but fantasy it just doesn't do it for me. I have zero Judy. Well, that's not true. I think I have him in a dynasty league, but Judy's not doing it for me. I'd rather take Cortland Sutton like 3 or 4 runs later. I think Sutton's okay. Not like I think he's amazing, but he'll give you. I agree with this. Matthew on fire with the takes here. Tank going to take over the backfield. Well, he might not take over the backfield. Like at the end, still going to be there, but I mean, it could be a near even split, and that's gonna really piss off a lot of the Etienne owners. But again, give me Tank several rounds later instead of Etienne. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is definitely the correct take. Between the Jerrys, yeah, Jerry Garcia and then Jerry Judy. Jerry Lewis, maybe somewhere in between. Jerry the Mouse, like distant last, bottom tier. Always. Buy low, trade high candidates. Always. We're not going to put out trade videos just yet because, I mean, even though in our leagues people are trading, it's not realistic where people just fresh off a draft and they're making trades. In the real active leagues, you will see that, but in a lot of leagues, you don't. So it's a little too early. We won't talk about that. And then really nothing has changed as far as low and high, as far as player stock. I mean, where you have them is where you value them on draft day. So we will come out with that probably right after week 1. Um, Buy low candidates right now, if there are any buy low. I mean, who could you really get for a good deal? Some of the rookies that people aren't as high on, if you want to stash them and wait because you expect a second half breakout. Like I really like stashing Rashawn Johnson. I'm kind of high on him. Not really a lot of buy lows right now. Okay, hold on a second. There's a Bears running back, by the way. And maybe not sell high, but just sell if you have Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, I'm just selling him. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 4. Could go either way here. I think I'm gonna look. This makes me more tilted that Justin Ross is not even drafted here in this draft. I took him in whatever round it was last time. Yeah, there's only one receiver I even kind of like. Just take a shot. Been talking about Ty Chandler as a sleeper. McBride got cut. That didn't surprise me. I was never interested in McBride. They didn't add anybody. I mean, okay, yeah, they picked up Myles Gaskin. Whatever. That's depth. He's not even been with a team. Look, if Chandler doesn't do anything, I cut him loose and I pick up another guy. But give a shot. If Madison gets hurt, Madison just isn't good, or Chandler just plays better, then that could pay off. That's the type of dart throw you take in the last round here. All right. Oops. Make sure everyone can see here. Sorry, I'm moving things around. What defenses do you like for fantasy? Yeah, Chris is anti-defense and he refuses to answer defense questions.
Oh, come
I mean, he
on,
knows, but he
dude.
doesn't want to advocate for the use of defense and special teams. But it's tough, man. You look, everyone's got different rankings. A lot of people have the Cowboys as the number 1 defense. I still think it's the Eagles. A lot of people think they're going to slip because they lost players. They added players. Their rookies are going to be studs. So I like Philly the best. I like Dallas, of course. Jets, I think, are going to be top 5 defense, sadly. Washington is kind of top 10, not elite, but they're still going to be really solid. They won't give up a lot of huge offensive games from especially opposing quarterbacks. And Baltimore is going to be solid for sure. So those are like my favorite defenses to try to get a piece of. I would have liked Miami better if not for the Jalen Ramsey thing, but yeah. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, yeah. And this is the right answer too. But seeing them live, that would be amazing. Should you trade Jerry Judy? Yes, trade Jerry Judy. All right, so actually, this is a good comment. One last comment here. Are we 2 on 1? Gino? He finished. I couldn't believe I had to do like a double take and a double check. I think he was the QB5 last year in scoring, which is ridiculous, but he was. Now, again, the problem is that a lot of that came in the first half, and then the very end of the season, playoffs, he faded a bit. But yeah, he doesn't even get drafted in our leagues. To me, that's a little too low. I'm not drafting Aaron Rodgers before him. I'm not drafting some of these other quarterbacks that didn't get drafted, but Kyler Murray, I'm just not drafting, period. I get you can stash him. That makes sense, but I'm just not. Yeah, I think Geno Smith is a little bit disrespected. I agree with that. All right. It was a good draft. Not going to review everyone's real team because I'm competing against these teams and they're going to know who I want to trade for. But let's go ahead and break down real quickly. I'm going to just talk about the way things shook out. Andrea was at the 1. Jefferson, Higgins, smart move there, and then took Mark Andrews, Johnson, and Dotson. So going for the 0 RB build. There's James Conner, Akers, Dylan, Charbonnet, Algier, 5 straight running backs. Yeah, I like that. I like that breakdown. You could Dobbs. I love Dobbs. To Cousins and Geno. Didn't even know if you needed a second quarterback, but you're good there. So I like that. Sean Juan went anchor or hero RB, building around Derrick Henry. That is never a bad thing. Got some risk at receiver. Not going to lie. I think you know this with Gabe Davis. I'm not talking about Pickens. There's no risk there. But hey, yeah, in fact, all your wide receivers beyond Jamar Chase are kind of risky, but it could pay off. Mike, what Michael's doing, he's got his guys, the guys he believes in. Tyreek Hill is 1, Chubb and Gibbs, nice. Got Pitts, Herbert, Kamara. You got Tua, so automatic A+ there. Other John also went pretty much hero RB, waiting for Aaron Jones. Really solid. I really liked the way you started your draft. Keith went with 4 straight receivers and then went with 4 running backs, and Kittle squeezed in the middle there. I like all those running backs. Dak, I have a lot of Dak. I have a lot of Dak this year, so I like pretty much all those picks. JCR right before me didn't let me even think about Bijan, but that's okay. I forgive you. And then just to rub it in, took Waddle, although I could have taken Waddle. So again, forgiven. Hurts, Hopkins, Hollywood. Yeah. And then look, that Jonathan Taylor pick could pay off huge for you, or it could be a wasted pick. We'll find out eventually. So on my team, I did a little differently. I got Pollard for the first time, I think, this season in a real draft. Follow up with Lamb. That's okay. And I have Keenan paired up with Herbert. So I'm leaning on those 2 teams quite a bit. And I got Ayuk and Pittman for the value. And then I got Dobbins, B-Rob, who I like, Ingram, solid. Okay, so I'm pretty happy pick here. I'm regretting. I think I've got pretty good value on all my picks. That's usually what I'm going for. Anthony, 3 stud receivers to start, and then 2.5 good running backs. Mix in, we'll see. And then you got Cook to back him up, though, and then you got Booth Watson. It's a very solid team. Ronnie, double hero RB, and then Kenny Walker. So let's see if those receivers pay off. We got a Michael Thomas believer here at the 9-9. Michael Thomas at the 9-9. I need someone to double check with me and to verify, is that the new minimum or no? Okay. I'm not sure yet. Notorious went with Barkley, Olave, Allen, DK, Jason, liking those Seahawks receivers, and then Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, Judy. A lot of risk here. Not going to lie, these aren't players I'm taking a lot of past Saquon and Olave, but you did get some good values for where you took them at least. And then Seven Rock, Kelsey in round 2. We hardly ever see that. Took some of the receivers I like, took them earlier than they usually go. So I guess that's why I didn't get either Flowers or Cooks. And then Swift and James Cook, I think getting those guys, man, end of the 7th, early 8th to get Swift and Cook. That's nice. For a 0 RB build, that's pretty good. So if you look, you're swinging on those receivers. If you hit on at least 2 of Watson, Flowers, and Cooks, yeah. And if those running backs hit, which I think they will. And then A.J. Brown and St. Brown. I like Team 12 too. We didn't have any team that took 10 running backs or 5 quarterbacks. So that alone is worth Okay, the confetti. We get like a confetti stream or something. No. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Draft tomorrow. That will be Chris ready to compete. So, yeah, Judy for anything? Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But Judy for Ayuk, take Ayuk. Yes, take Ayuk if you can trade Judy. Do it now. All right, guys. I will, yeah, I won't see you tomorrow, but some of you will see each other tomorrow. You'll see Chris tomorrow, and then we will be back next week. No more drafting because the season will be started. I know, I can't believe I'm saying that, but appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.